So today I want to answer a question that somebody asked in the comment section. And this is such a great question. It's actually helped me to smile more this week. So the question is, does a spiritual life always have to be a painful life? Is a spiritual life more or less painful than a non-spiritual life? Let's divide the concept of pain into two categories. The first category is what we're going to call unnecessary pain. This is pain that we could use a different name for, which is resistance. So if we're stubborn to a spiritual lesson and we're falling into the same cycle, trying to avoid pain or to avoid change, then what we're doing is we're resisting life. This is similar to if you're standing on a beach and a wave crashes onto you and pulls you under, versus a wave is coming and you dive into the water and go with the flow. Probably a lot of the times when I'm talking about pain, that's the type of pain I'm talking about. Because in today's world, we are often taught to avoid pain. Pain is bad, but pain is neither good or bad. Does pain help you on your path, or does pain cause you to become stuck on your path? Now, the necessary kind of pain we could call growth, because this is the kind of pain where we feel it all, we submerge ourselves in it, we jump off that cliff into the unknown, and then we find out that this pain is way less painful than we thought it would be. You could actually say that there's a lot of pleasure related to it because there's a lot of learning, an increase in your frequency, your wisdom, your heart, and just your overall understanding of love. There's also this genuine self-love that comes through this, where when you conquer a moment where you never knew you would be that brave, but you are, and you do what you thought you could never do, it will bring such meaning into your life and purpose. And this is the kind of self-love that just never goes away. So the choice to live a spiritual life is not because you're wanting to run away or towards pain. The choice to live a spiritual life is usually actually the question between love or fear. Some decision will come into your life and you'll have to choose, is this going to hold me back from shining with love, or is that love going to catapult me to the impossible? Deciding to live a spiritual life is a very risky undertaking because it's the opening up of all of the parts of yourself to embrace these larger concepts, to change the actual framework of your life in a fundamental way. Sometimes choosing love over fear is going to feel soothing right away. Other times it's going to feel painful. And the reasons for why that is because we're all coming from it from a different position. That's why this question is very difficult to answer, because our pain thresholds are all different. And things that cause great pain for one person actually cause pleasure for another. If you were to ask a hospice worker how they go through the painful process of helping people cross over to become friends with someone only for them to end up dying anyway, that you can never save anyone. And for some, that might feel like the most painful career you could ever choose. But it's all about perspective. The spiritual reward of the work that they're doing is incredible because they're operating on such a high frequency. A great movie to describe what I'm talking about is the movie Defending Your Life. It's from the 90s with Meryl Streep. It's a good one to watch because I'm not going to tell you the plot of it, but the gist of it is characters die and they're able to play back their life and watch it. And the person that lives their life off of fear and running from pain has a lot of regret. And the person that lives their life headed towards love and the brave choices has the biggest smile on her face and just lights up the room. Another film that shows this concept of, let's say, spiritual levity or laughter is the film Life is Beautiful. To take the most horrible circumstance you could possibly imagine, but turn it into something beautiful, turn it into something full of life and laughter. It's not what happens to you in life, but it's how you take what happens to you. What do you make of it? Infusing something with meaning, infusing something with love, does give you the ability to feel more weightless, like a balloon floating in the air. And to smile through hardship doesn't mean you're avoiding hardship or abandoning the truth or your loved ones. It could actually mean quite the opposite. In this film, he is embracing the truth of what's happening, And his way of conquering it is that his spirit will never be broken. He's not fighting it with direct conflict, but he's fighting it by it never breaking his spirit. To smile with your whole body, to smile with your whole essence, to feel gratitude for every experience. The people that feel lucky in life are often the ones that we would call optimists. And for those people, if you look at what happens in their life, they're no different than other people in terms of hardship or struggles, but it's just how they perceive everything that's different. So as I was saying, the concept of quantifying pain or knowing if something is going to be painful or pleasurable is all about perspective. It depends on where your starting place is. For some, they are constantly seeking out fun. Like an addiction, they're always looking for a high. But nothing seems to stick, almost like a kid in a candy shop. And that is very different than a wise guru who is smiling with their whole body. And now for another who has, instead of avoiding pain, they have learned to always feel pain, to always feel shame, to always punish and abuse themselves, in essence, and let other people do the same. And for this person, feeling pleasure actually feels painful. To release themselves from all of this guilt feels wrong. They are resistant to letting go of pain. Perhaps they are still grieving for years and years. They haven't been able to find a way to rectify the grief and the loss. We often talk about pain in terms of spiritual growth because the areas that you will find the greatest amount of leaps and bounds of spiritual growth tend to be areas where you have the most resistance. But in everyday life, there are always moments where we're growing just a little bit in spirituality. And these places are almost not even noticeable because they're just such small increments over time. Playing ball with your kid, smiling at somebody in a grocery store. You're growing spiritually, but you don't even notice it because they're these small increments. The times in your life when you're going to notice the most spiritual change is almost always related to something that is resistant, which has been an area of pain. And that is why the growth of spirituality is often connected to the concept of pain. There is growth that feels good right away, and there is growth that is painful but rewarding. So we can compare this in astrology to Jupiter, where your efforts are doubled down and you're quickly rewarded for your efforts, or Saturn, which we're going to get to very soon in the videos. This kind of arduous, old-fashioned, you want that bicycle, you're going to save up for a year kind of reward. Yes, it was painful, but yes, it was worth it. That's Saturn. After somebody has chosen to live a very spiritual life, if you were to compare their pain to someone who's living a very in-the-moment, instant gratification kind of life, who is feeling more pain? Very, very hard to calculate pain, if we could even calculate pain. But whatever pain they are feeling is a very different kind of pain. It's not a kind of pain of a monster that's terrorizing you, running towards you, haunting your dreams, something you can never break away from, and feeling powerless in your own life and feeling trapped. These are not the kinds of pain that you have in a spiritual existence. In the spiritual existence, the type of pain you're more likely to have is a kind of pain of longing for others to join you. You're up there on the mountain, looking at the view, having a peaceful moment, and somebody that you love is in pain, and it causes you pain that they are not able to break free. Another type of pain that might be caused by living a spiritual life is all of a sudden having all the flood of regret of realizing all the decisions and things that you have now regretted because you can see a larger perspective. At the time of these choices, you probably didn't know you were doing something so harmful, and now all of that feeling of like, now I need to make amends. Now I need to make the world a better place. I had no idea the pain I was causing. That's another type of pain of spiritual life. When you're living a spiritual existence, seeing others in pain is much more painful than it was before. But all of these types of pain, I still see as something beautiful. This is not a kind of ghoulish pain that I would shudder at. This is not a kind of pain where it makes me want to cringe. This is the pain of loving. So when given the choice, now that the options are laid out before you, all I can say is pick your pain. Come back for the next video.